Good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about making a random number table. So for example, let's say I wanted to randomize weight. So I'm going to copy the weight values and I'm going to paste them over here. Alright, the next thing that I'm going to do is to try to assign numbers. So 1, so this is going to be equal to that value plus 1, and everything I'm going to center this. Everything I copy from that down is going to add 1. So I'm going to get 49 values, alright? So let's say I have 49 values and I wanted to randomize this list. So I can make a random number table. So I wanted to format column width and change it to something like 5. So all of the columns are same. So I'm going to call this my random number table. Okay, so my random number table is going to be here, and then I'm going to put equal rand between, and you'll see it come up. So once you start typing, you'll know. And then let's say I'm going to put between 1500 and 3200. I can choose any numbers I want and enter. So what I'm going to do now is to copy this down a few and copy that over a few. But when you finish copying, as you see that it changes, so you're going to copy everything, and then you're going to right click, and I don't know if you can see this, but you choose what is the numbers. When you paste, it says 1 2 3, and that's the one that pastes the values, so the values will come up. So these are the values. So I'm looking at numbers between 1 and 49. So my numbers would be, so 50 is not on the list, 14, so I'm going to choose 14, so I'm going to put a highlight on this so I can recognize it. 3 is there, 51 is not, 5 is there, 76 is not, 78, 17 is on the list of 1 to 49, 52 is not, 42 is, 27, 14, I already have 14 here, so I'm going to skip that one. 37, 76 is not, 37, I just selected a 37, 54, 56, 57, 36, did I choose 36? No, so I'm going to choose 36, 56 is not, 82 is not, 10 is on the list, 0 is not, 11 is there, did I choose 11 before? No, 87, 80, 41 is on the list, and I can go a few more. 26 is there, 69, 13 is present, 82, 23, let's say we stop there. Alright, so going through the list, I would realize that so I'm going to make up so I'm going to delete these items. Let's say I'm going to delete all of these because I don't need them, because I already used the ones I needed, and I'm going to put the numbers 14, 3, 5, 17, 42, 27, 37, 36, 10, 11, 41, 26, 13, 23. Let's say those are the ones I'm selecting, and if you just want to see them in order, you block them, you go up to the heading and you sort from smallest to largest, and it will sort them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for number 3, which is 148, number 5, which is 194, and that's over here on the list. Alright, 10 is 135, 11, 113, 13 is 150, 14 is 146, and I'm going to scroll down here, 17, 139, 23, and 26, 26, that's this here, 26 is 146, 27, 133, 36 is 248, 37 is 126, 41, 163.5, and 42 is the last one, is 131. Right? So those are the values that I'm going to use for my sample. Alright. So if I want things like the mean, I just simply type equal average and then put bracket, and then I block. Control shift down blocks everything in the 150. So let's say that's my sample, and then my population is, alright, so let's say my population equal average, and then I'm going to go to my original list, control shift down and enter. So my population mean is a bit higher than my sample mean, as is expected. Alright, so you can see that, and then you can do other things like standard deviation. So now when you're doing the sample, it's equal to stdev.s, and then I block everything, control shift down. And for the population, it's equal to stdev.p. And you'll see it show up as you're typing, so you don't have to worry. I go to the population, control shift down, and block everything, and this is the standard deviation. So you can actually see that the standard deviation for the population is a bit larger than the standard deviation for the sample. Of course, you're getting smaller, less items, so you're not going to have too much variation if you have less items than when you have a lot. The more items you have, the more you reduce your variation. Alright, and I can also block everything, and I can insert a histogram, and then I can actually take the histogram, click on the bins, click on the axis, the x-axis, right click on the x-axis and put format axis, and I can change the number of bins. I can change it to 5, I can change it to 6, and change the number of bins to 4. 4 looks like a more reasonable alternative. And this would be my histogram demonstrating the data, and as you can see it's skewed to the right, so there are more items at the lower end and fewer items at the higher end. So if I'm doing a test, actually a hypothesis test, I test for the smaller end, which is the tendency, the skewness is toward the smaller end. So in terms of using that type of method to randomize, that's one method. Alright. Another method, I could copy this whole list just to illustrate. I could copy this whole list as it is, Control C, and let's say I come down just a bit and I start here. Alright, so I'm doing this whole thing over, but I'm starting with a list. So if I want to sort this list, then I'm going to put here random list. I simply put equal rand as in randomize, and then open and close brackets, that's all. And it will generate a number. And then I can copy that number down throughout the whole list, and it will copy several random numbers. If I click on the list random, you'll see random appearing in the bracket above, rand bracket for each of the numbers. So it's each of these is a randomized number. Then remember, control shift down, I'm going to copy, control C, and then I'm going to go back up to the top and right click and then paste special, the values, the one that says 1, 2, 3, and you'll see the numbers change. That's why it's necessary for you to copy and paste it, and then you'll see when you click on each, a number comes up instead of a random list. So when you have this randomized list now, you simply block everything. You simply block everything, including the random list, and then you're going to right click. Well, actually, you can go to the menu where it says sort, or it says A to Z, and custom sort. And then when you get your custom sort, you're going to make sure my data has headers is off, and you're going to go to column B. You're going to sort based on column B. And then if you want to choose smallest to largest or largest to smallest, it doesn't matter, but I'll just work with smallest to largest. And as you can see, it is sorting it based on the numbers in the random list, and then I can choose my items based on, I can start at the first one if I want. Let's say I start with the first, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, it's 49. So let's say I choose those items there. They would have been randomized items. So let's say I go to 123, control copy, and I'm going to paste it right over here. Alright, so I'm going to put my random numbers. So these are now my random numbers which I selected from my list by using random. And then I can use them to do everything else. So I'm going to put mean, standard, deviation. So let's say the mean of the sample and the mean of the population. So the sample is equal to average, and then I block everything in the sample, and I get 159 and equal average. And I'm going to block everything in the population, control shift down, enter. So you can actually see in this sense that the sample mean is just a bit larger than the population mean. And it is because you have certain large items, 259, 250. You have more large items in a smaller population, which is actually, and 194, which is actually influencing the mean. Standard deviation equal stdev.s for the sample. You block everything, control shift plus, down, equal stdev.p for the population. So I'm going to go over to the population that I have and click enter, and I end up with 35.6. So once again, the deviation is lower because you actually have more values to choose from, and the big values therefore don't really have a great impact, whereas in a smaller list the values have an impact. I can also plot my histogram. So I'm going to go to insert histogram. They usually choose the best one that they can, but you can modify it to format axis. Go on the bin limits, change that to 5, change it to 4 just to see, play around with some values, and then so I'm going to use this one. Alright, so this one, as you can see, is similar to that one up there. So it is kind of representative of the population because you have a similar trend in the data. You have a smaller tail and a larger beginning. So this is these both are skewed toward the higher values being in the lower percentage. And that is how you use either a random number table or a random list to sort the items, or to randomize and select items for your study from a list of items. Alright, thank you very much for paying attention. I hope you can use this to complete your assignment.